Is it 9 o'clock yet?
Excuse me, Barb, can I go ahead and count y'all down for YouTube?
You can.
All right, we are ready in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Okay, I will call this June 2nd meeting of the Forsyth County Board of Registrations and Elections to order at 9:01 is what my phone says. And also that this meeting shall be via teleconference pursuant to OCGA 50-14-1G. Okay. Oh, okay. Good morning, Carla.
Morning. Sorry, I'm just like, oh my gosh, it's 9.
Now we got everybody. Okay. Shall we have the Pledge of Allegiance? I don't have a flag right here, so. Somebody got, here, I'm wearing a flag. No. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Okay. We will suspend with the adoptions of the minutes from the May meeting until we're all together and can actually read the minutes and sign them, if that's all right with everybody.
Yes.
Okay. As we have been doing. So for old business, let's start with precinct and polling place discussions update. Mandy, I know we're having some problems getting some poll workers. How's that going?
Well, I figure poll workers we may want to talk about later on.
Okay.
About this one, just discussion of this election, which we know it kind of all encompasses everything. But precinct and polling places, we have use of all of our election day polling places on June 9th. So,
that's good.
So we're set for all of those.
Okay. That's good, because I know last month you had not heard from a couple, but
I had not heard from, and we heard from them very shortly after the meeting. Actually, we talked a little because they were very honest, and the email I'd originally sent out, I told them, I said, if you're on the fence, if you're undecided, if you have any concerns, you just need to let me know and we'll discuss it and we'll take it from there. And we had a very good discussion, and then they went back and thought about it some more, and we're willing to continue to be a polling place for this election. But I understood those concerns.
Okay, I'm moving over so I don't get that sun there. As far as new equipment, we've gotten all the equipment in, and even the ones that they told you they would hold and they didn't.
Correct. Yes. So now we really have no room in the warehouse, and it looks like we've got forts built back there.
Yeah, well,
they're all the way up to the door. So yes, they brought us, and I don't think I have that right here in front of me, but they brought the additional scanners, and I believe it was 70 more, if I remember correctly, 70 more touchscreens and printers.
Right. And all those
30 something scanners, and then the cases for everything too.
Mm-hmm. And the UPSs and stuff.
Correct. There were more UPSs as well. Yes.
Yeah. How about do you want to go into?
Before we go into 2020, I have a concern with the new equipment. I know what the Secretary of State's office said we should be doing, but as somebody that works in the cyber industry day in and day out, I have a concern with the amount of alcohol we're rubbing on those devices after every voter. Slowly, this stuff's going to eat away at the sensitivity of the system, honestly. Could we not get styluses and chain attach them to every voting machine and ask the voters to use the stylus to press down on their selections and then just swipe the stylus instead?
The reason I didn't really go with stylus, because my thing is, you've still got somebody standing over that machine, coughing, sneezing, inevitably, when you go to touch, you're still going to end up touching the screen. So I don't see how you can't not still wipe the screen off, even if somebody uses a stylus. Because the next person, and there are some people who will not use the stylus. I mean, for whatever reason, they'll just choose that it's the first time using the equipment, they want to touch it. That's cool. That's their right to do that. So I don't know how you can do that and still not continue to clean them.
We're using what the vendors have.
I know where
Yeah,
I know what
right.
we're doing. I've looked at it. I understand what it is. It's just the industry test. I'm going to say this: industry testing, and I don't mean voter industry. I mean general fiber industry testing doesn't have the quantity of continuous cleaning that is occurring as their industry acceptance testing for those type of cleaners on this equipment. It's assumed once every 8 hours, once every 12 hours, not once every 2 minutes. And that's where my concern is, that we're doing damage, and that while we won't see the issues here, we could see them in the future if this persists.
And in regards to that, can I say that if we're doing that per the Secretary of State, then it's going to be their responsibility for doing something about it, because that's what they told us to do.
No, I have no problem as long as it's documented and everything, and we're not left holding a bag at the end of the day. I just don't want our taxpayers to be held holding a bag that because of this, we have to go out and buy replacements already.
Okay.
That's my main concern.
We'll note that, and I think we've received emails from the Secretary of State regarding that, so we have that on record as far as, excuse me, as far as what we need to use and how we need to do it and when we need to do it. Okay, that's all for the equipment. You want to go on to the 2020 election updates?
One question for Mandy.
Yes.
How many high-speed scanners do we have? Just one?
Correct, just one.
Okay.
I think eventually we're supposed to get 2, but I don't know. Did they say we should have 2?
They had said that, well, the last time that the representative from Dominion was here, not our tech, but sort of
right
from him, she had said that they were looking into different counties based on numbers and statistics as to whether or not they would be allotted another scanner. Some of the larger counties, of course, already have 2 scanners. I think some even have 3 and 4. But
we have 1.
Not,
okay.
We still have 1.
All right. Well, we'll work with what we have then. So, is there any other election updates on that? Or do we want to roll that into the June 9th, what we've got going on with that?
I say let's roll it into that way. We can kind of cover these other ones real quick, and then that can all be together.
Okay, and we still have generator on there, but we know we're not going to do anything with that until after all the elections over with, and we can have at least a weekend for them to install everything. So
correct.
That's still on hold. Polling place ADAs, have we been able to do any more ADA checks, or the state we'll just go with what we have?
Correct. And at this point too, it's really from our perspective, it's really more, there are only so many minutes in the day, and we're using as many minutes as we can and still stay awake. And so no, we have not. I know that I've seen some emails come through. I believe they've gone ahead and done checks outside where they could do back, especially when the buildings were closed and there was no people not being letting it in. So at this point, it's going to be after this election, we'll pick that back up again and have them continue checking the insides of those places.
Okay. Fair enough. Disaster recovery discussion. Does anybody have anything on that?
My only question on that for this election is, what is our alternative location should we have a problem on election night? have we identified a location?
I have not identified a location. No.
We still can get the generators that we've had before, so.
No, I understand that, and definitely we want to make sure we have those, Barb.
Mhm.
But if there's something major that occurs and all, we do need a backup location that we can relocate to.
Y'all come to my house, okay?
It doesn't mean
I would let you in my garage, but there's no room, okay? No, I think we should be all right. And then there's also another building close to us at the tax commissioners that we should have to, but moving stuff is not going to be possible.
no, I know.
We'll have to contact the Secretary of State and let them know that we have to postpone for some reason.
Yeah.
And I think they'll understand under the circumstances.
Yeah. No, I hear you. Just still something we need to.
That falls under the election equipment and the contingency planning.
Yeah.
Which, we're going to have to put something in writing, but we will eventually.
Yeah.
That falls under the not enough hours in the day. And the same with the media in the polling places. We know that we can designate an area for them, and we kind of have something out there for them to call the office so that we can notify the poll workers. And the media has been really good about that, of calling the office in the past before they go out to any polls so that we can notify the polls. So. And we're down to the big one. Discussion of the June 9th primary. I think the plan is to open all 20 polling places. How is it doing with our poll workers?
Poll workers are a challenge. We've had many challenges lately with everything going on, but that is definitely a challenge. To be very frank, people are dropping out every day.
Oh, okay.
I would estimate, we talked about it the end of the weekend, and so I have not updated any list over the last day and a half. People have reached out to us. I would say, we trained over 300 people for the PPP, and over 300 workers trained. Obviously, most all of them were planning to work, whether it be advanced voting and or election day for presidential preference. The idea would be that they would continue to work for this one. We know we've reached out to them several times in these last couple of months to say, are you still on board? Are you not? Just let us know. And I would say at this point, we're down probably about to half of that who have said that they are willing to. And even in these last few days, there are people that, to be honest, we'd already scheduled, had come to the training that we had in the parking lot, had been in contact with us, thought we were all set and good. And now they changed their mind and they are not comfortable. So at this point, we're working really closely with the county. I've been in contact with the county manager. They are putting out information for us to try to solicit, encourage county employees to serve as poll workers. I've got virtual meetings is my plan to do poll worker training. The remainder of this week, I think I scheduled one for every day, tomorrow, Thursday, and Friday. So the hope is, and county employees will be able to take that during business hours, assuming it's all approved by their supervisor and they're allowed to come to be off that day, or at least the morning shift or the afternoon shift. So, and we're also reaching out through the school system as well to try to get workers that way.
What's the least amount of people that we can, I know what the law says, but what do you feel the least amount of people we can have at the polls is?
I think it varies by polling place. We know that based on the size. So it would not be a one size fits all answer. But obviously, I mean, just from a safety perspective and just from by law, you must have 3. I always like at least 4. That way somebody goes to the bathroom, whatever, you've always got 3 in the room.
Well, at least 6, well, I say 6, I'm basing it on before, 1 for each station, but.
Correct. 6 would be a good minimum. 10 would be better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We have 20 locations. 6 would put us at a minimum of 180 people, 10 at 200 people. And if I did my math based on what you said, you trained 300 and we're down to below 150.
Mm-hmm.
Correct.
It's going to be tough, tight.
Okay. I'm going to ask, have we reached out to people like Commissioner Levent, Commissioner Cooper, and Commissioner Brown, who all are not on the ballot, to see if we can draft them to help? Because I looked through the whole book, and the only thing that it says is that people's names that appear on the ballot cannot work, but it doesn't say anything about those. And I'm sorry, let's just guilt them.
Well, I know that the county manager had reached out to Commissioner Chairman Simonson. And so, again, I think everybody's on board as far as county employees. Not sure which county employees, but the county employees coming on board. And but as to how many we will get and how many we will have, I do not know yet.
I know. On Saturday, I ran into Sheriff Freeman, and I inquired with him politely, and he told me the biggest issue, his deputies that are off duty in terms of doing it, is the pay differential. They're off duty paid like $50 an hour, and ours is like $15 an hour. But he was going to ask his duty officers to see about encouraging them to reach out to engage as more of this is public service, and just take the 15 or whatever the thing is, and because it's helping the public for the county. So I don't know where that may come into.
Do
I
the
had that conversation on Saturday with him.
Do the parties have any lists that they could add to it?
I have a list of about 35 names when I reached out to the party to get people to do early ballot opening.
Mm-hmm.
I'm putting out another letter today. Once this meeting is over, I have some questions from Andy. As soon as I get answers to those, I'll put out a letter again saying, please let me know. But anyway, I will add that to that notice going out. Some of the people who originally volunteered, I've had the same thing that Mandy has seen, that some people just feel that they're in that age group and don't feel comfortable. So
Yeah, they're all right in a small group, but not in a large group. I understand that.
I mean, that was some of the over a lot of the questions they had dealt with that issue. How close would they be to other people while involved in the ballot opening process? So, all you can say is we intend to adhere to distancing protocols.
Yeah, and PPEs.
Some people, okay, others not so much.
Correct.
On the opposite side of the aisle, our problem is not that we don't have a list of people. When we put a call out for the ballot opening as well as the official monitoring and all that, I got a good 100 names back from the county. The moment I said it was 9 to 5 and daytime hours,
Yeah.
half my list said, "Oh wait, we're working."
Not 6 to 8. Yeah.
Evenings, we have all the time in the world. We'll go until midnight, 2 a.m. But
Right. Yeah.
but the moment I said it was daytime hours, my list dwindled.
I understand. Well, we'll do the best we can, and if we have to use the minimums, we will, and if we have to cut back, we'll, it may take some lines, and we'll just have to deal with what we have to deal with. And I think most people are going to be understanding of that, or at least I hope they would be. They seem to be pretty understanding at the advanced voting sites, are they not?
They have been. And again, I mean, day one, I think we had lunchtime for us is statistically, traditionally a busier time.
Mm-hmm.
So somewhere between 11:30 and 1:30 generally is our busier time during advanced voting. And day one, which you imagine there were people that chose to come out on day one.
Yeah.
So, and of course it was everybody getting back into the groove again. I think the longest they said that the poll workers ever timed was like 25 minutes. And that was just one particular time. And it was kind of like a rush. And there were several couples that all came at one time. Other than that, it's not a very long wait. 10 to 15 minutes is sort of the longest wait. Again, when it's busy and several groups all come at the same time. When I talked to Sharon Springs Park yesterday, he said it was never more than 7 to 8 minutes there. Okay. And they voted, I think it was 177 total yesterday there.
Mm-hmm.
So of course there's different trends based on morning, evening, it being the first day versus the last day. But in general, the lines have not been long. They're moving them through while at the same time making sure that there's not too many people in the room. They're keeping everything cleaned in between.
So now we're not running into the 30 plus minutes that it's going to take. Good.
Correct. Now, I would still highly encourage people who have chosen to request an absentee ballot and it was sent to them to return it and to vote it. That certainly adds to the amount of time it takes to process a voter. They have canceled, I don't know that I have it on this list in front of me, but all total, but this includes by mail also. I don't have a breakdown. But we've canceled over 600 ballots so far. So they're we figured out they were averaging about 50 at least per day during advanced voting.
Okay.
And we know that takes a little bit longer. I mean, part of the process is there's a check and balance involved. That the voters got to go over to the voter assistance station, got to verify if they brought the ballot, got to verify it's for this election. If they've got to sign the affidavit. And then they have to reach out to our office because we've got to verify that we have not already received that voted ballot back from the voter to ensure that they're only getting to vote one time. So you have that happen and say you have 10 couples in line and all 10 of them are doing that. That can add to your line a little bit right there.
Right, but that's not falling into that 30-minute thing. And even with having to possibly hand out paper ballots, it's going to take longer. If they'll just wait for the machines, it would take less time because by the time they have to go to the station and pull the ballot and get it all done, it'd be just as easy for them to wait at the machines. So
right. Well, and I know that's not I don't think that's the intent of that rule anyway. Mm-hmm. But I think even with as seamless of a transition as it could be, voters will be confused by it. And so many voters are still, they're excited. This is the first time they're getting to use the new equipment.
Right.
This is their first time that they voted in person since it was put into place. So a lot of them, that's what they're coming out to see.
Bless you.
Thank you.
Okay, well.
Now, averaging a couple hundred a day, that's very different.
Yeah, than thousands.
Thousands on election day.
Mm-hmm. So people will either come out on election day or they won't. Now, the buzz that came through on those ballots that hadn't been mailed by vendor, did we have a lot of them?
We only had one on the list.
Hmm.
And I'm still researching it to find
Good.
out. I kind of think it was our error when we put it in. I don't think we put it in the right way, but we
Yeah.
only had one.
That's good.
was
I
very
wasn't
good.
sure.
Because some counties had a lot, so I feel like there was an issue there, but
Yeah.
yeah, we only had one.
Well, that's good. I'm glad that's that. So,
Considering that we mailed, that we listed, or at least we've returned over 20,000. So I have to assume that there's almost 40,000 that went out from the vendor. When I looked over the weekend, I looked at Sunday's report from the SOS. So
Yeah.
that to only have one to have an error, that
Yeah.
says a lot for the staff. And I think,
absolutely.
Mandy, you need to pass it on to the whole staff that that's impressive. At least, I hope I speak for everyone on the board that when I say
Yes.
that's impressive.
Well, thank you. Everybody's working very hard. No, we've issued over 38,000 so far.
Okay.
And we've got several more in there to do right now.
Yeah, because we're mailing them out now.
Correct.
From the office. So, but I was concerned about that when I saw it, and I thought, well, I'd check with you. So that's good that we only had one.
Correct.
That's admirable for the staff. Terrible. I mean, they're doing a great job. Y'all are doing a great job. Is there anything else on standard other than early opening, which is under new business?
I have one thing for and I'm asking Mandy, but I know communications is on because they run these Zoom sessions for us. So if they answer instead, Mandy, I'm not going to object. Can we get a simple press announcement or something as well as published on the website about the change in how to get into the Midway precinct for the voters that can be publicly shared? You and I talked about it on Sunday when we were out there setting up for early voting. And I got home and I started thinking about it. I said, this needs to be more, official than just a simple, oh, by the way, if you're going to that place to put on social media from me that you and I talked about.
Mm-hmm.
This needs to be more of an official communication from the county saying, please be aware for those that will be voting at Midway precinct on election day, the previous way of entering and exiting the poll has changed. To enter, you need to come up and around the building from the left side of the building up that path, and you'll be exiting out the door you've traditionally entered and exited from.
And I will reach out to communications about that.
Yeah.
And we'll also, have postings and stuff.
Well, yeah, I know. I placed
There's-
several signs in the ground pointing, go this way, go up, and everything. When we were setting up the poll, but still having a formal, because as we were just talking about, certain things are pre-programmed. Everybody knows every time they go to vote, they're auto walk, auto do it. And this is one location we've changed the egress and exit points, ingress and egress points. So we do need to do something publicly and to make people aware. I think it will help us in the bigger picture prevent certain other complaints from arising. You didn't let us know, you didn't this, you didn't do that.
Well, and I'll just clarify for everybody out there who is watching, it's still at Midway Park Community Building. Voting is still exactly where it is before. It's just there's two doors to that building. Traditionally, we've come and gone out the same door, but in order to make a better flow for the poll, we're asking voters to come in the quote back door and then exit through the front door. So just so nobody gets confused about, it's still at the same exact place.
Right.
A few more steps to get to the front door, and then you'll come right back out or to the back door, and then you'll come back out the front door.
It helps with protection too, because you're not closing and coming in close contact with somebody else that way.
Correct.
Does that affect handicap access?
No, handicap access is still ultimately whichever direction you need to get in from handicap, because technically you got the far ramp on the other end. If that's a better fit for you, they know to let you in regardless of which direction works best for you.
Okay.
There's two ramps on the building, Matt. There's one at the far, there's the handicap at the far right, and then there's the handicap at the far left.
Oh, okay. I haven't been over there in a long time, so I just
Yeah.
didn't recall.
Yeah.
All right.
Anything else for that? Then we'll move on to new business. And with new business, we have the discussion of the early opening of absentees for the June 9th election, which we are planning to start tomorrow, as per the advertisement.
Yes. So we've advertised to start at 9 a.m. tomorrow, Wednesday, June 3rd.
Okay. Do we have poll workers and stuff to work with us on that?
We have some. So we're just going to have to start with what we have. And I mean, different people can work different days. Not everybody can work Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. So as you
Right.
said, sort of a staggered schedule. We're going to set it up in the warehouse area. So we will be providing PPE for everyone who comes. So any worker that wants to bring their own mask or own gloves, they're certainly welcome to do that. We will have masks, we'll have gloves, we'll have face shields for anyone who wants to wear them. A mask are going to be asked of all people coming, whether it be to process the absentee ballots or those monitoring, visiting the area. And then for those of us that will be counting the ballots and processing them, anybody who wants to wear gloves, those will be made available to them as well.
Okay. I will be there tomorrow. I'll be there tomorrow. Matt's going to be there Thursday. Thank you, Matt. I have a doctor's appointment. I'll be there Friday. Joel said that he would handle the weekend. He's looking kind of, what?
No, I did say, I just wasn't sure what.
And then I will, be back there all day on Monday, the day, before elections. And, if Randy and Carla want to come and help, we can always use their help.
Well, I was going to be
the best day.
I was going to come in.
You're coming tomorrow too? Good. Okay.
Yeah.
So, it'll kind of be a learning experience for all of us with the new equipment, but when are you going to set that up, Mandy? You need me to come this afternoon and help with some of that?
It'll probably be tonight before I'm able to go back there and set it up.
All right, because if we have to move some of those pallets, I don't know exactly where you want to, because we almost need to move those pallets in order to get so that you can deliver equipment for the elections.
Well, the problem becomes we're very limited on where else we can put them.
Oh, I know.
So
can we use them as walls?
If anything, they're just going to move like 10 feet over.
That's right. Use them as walls to block off the rest of the warehouse if we can do that,
Yep.
Well,
Okay.
Mandy,
Go ahead. Mhm.
Mandy,
Yes.
until you set this up tonight, you probably don't know how many people you're actually going to be able to get in there at any one time. Is that a fair statement?
Well, I can make a decent estimate based on when I've had the maximum number of workers back there.
Yeah.
All of our folks from the county in there. So, I'm thinking 15 to 20 at least.
Okay.
And some people are going to be at a table. Because if you're going to be working together and if I'm slitting open the envelope and then I'm sending it down to the next person, we're going to practice social distancing. However, there are times when you have to be a little closer than 6 feet. So I don't know how realistic it is to think that they're going to have to then get those ballots down to the next person who's going to take them out and sort them. So,
And if we have to stagger them, like 2 on one side and 1 in the middle on the other side, it may help with the distancing too.
right.
Privacy of all of it. So,
And that's part of why the tables are already set up the way they were back there, where there's 2 6-foot tables,
Right.
2 8-foot kind of adjutting each other so that you've almost got your 6 feet built in just
right.
from one side to the other.
And the scanner can be moved into the back so that we can do that, so,
Correct.
okay.
I just had another question came through my head, but, is there gonna be sequestration during this process prior to election day? Or can people come and go as their schedule permits?
Based on my reading and understanding of the rule that was put out, I did not read it to mean that they have sequestered during those, like if we were going to set it for like a 6.5 hour stretch, say, which is what I've asked the poll workers, basically from approximately 9 to approximately 4 with some breaks in there. I didn't, and you guys tell me if you're something different. I didn't read it that way.
No, they do have to sign the oath and they do have to give up their electronic devices.
Correct, correct.
So, but the problem is you're going to have some one day and not the next day. So,
Right.
That's why we're using poll workers and stuff so that, they know they're going to sign the oath that says they can't divulge anything that they've seen.
Well, I can add this to the letter that I'm sending out later today, that we could use assistance during these few days ahead of the actual election day, because I had understood from previous conversations that we had, Mandy, that you had enough people and you would only need from the list that I had on election day. But there are some people who would be willing to work for several hours during this week and so on. So I can add that to this letter. Do you want them to contact you directly?
Yes, let's just go with that because I've got everybody else for that contacting me. I'm not.
Your regular county email?
Yes, that'll be fine.
Okay.
Hey, Matt, can you send me a copy of what you're sending just so maybe I can steal some of what you've written?
It's copyrighted. You can't use it.
No, it's copy and steal everything. That's case law. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'll do that.
So,
Open records requested.
Yeah,
No,
send me an FOI.
You'll have the X amount of days, on the electronic devices point, Mandy, we got to make sure we're checking these as well. Mine is a Samsung Galaxy. It has a camera capability on it.
yeah.
I know some of the Apple Watches as well do have camera capability.
Yes.
So,
And that collecting of electronic devices and cameras and phones and everything goes for observers too. So nobody that's back there can have anything, even though the observers are far enough away from the process that they cannot see the face of the ballot, and so are the monitors.
theoretically, are we going to pull out a zoom, a camera that can zoom 10x and figure out where you can no longer see the place?
Well, they're not going to have cameras. That's why they have to give them up before.
No, I know what you're saying. I'm just pointing out, the argument point.
Well, they can argue with me, but I'm holding to it.
Yeah, no.
And actually, they have to wear name tags as well. Even observers have to wear name tags because that was in there.
Yeah. There was some questions around the monitors and who provides the name tag to that one and all. Are we providing them or are they supposed to be provided by their political parties if they're the official monitor?
Well, they have a letter, so we can provide them with they have a letter, so we can provide them with a handwritten.
As long as we have a way to identify them, I think is what the point was.
Right, as long as they have to have their letter in order to be a monitor. So when they have the letter, we can give them the oath, but they will have to have that letter before they are going to be allowed in the monitoring area, which is still away from seeing the face of the ballots. They can actually see what people are doing a little bit more than the public can see, but I'm hoping we're not going to get a lot of observers and just a few monitors that we can handle. So,
So as far as the monitors go,
Mhm.
from the respective parties, do you all have people, is it planned pretty much that they'll be there continuously? They may be trading out, I suppose, as far as based on their schedules?
Monitor wise for the Republican Party, we have two monitors from Forsyth County identified for every day, but every day so far we have 2 monitors identified except for Saturday the 6th. We have only had 1 person identify for that day. I got to reach out to 1 or 2 people on that, and we have 5 people identified for election day, for all day, so we have a person for vote review panel continuously from 9 a.m. on, and we have 1 person that will be joining us at 5 p.m. He just could not get the day off from work, so we have.
And that's vote review, right?
I've Ron Wexler. He's done it before to vote review, but he's the nighttime vote review.
Right.
And I have Pam Bowman doing daytime if we need to start the vote review earlier in the day.
Because you said 5 on election day.
Right. The 2 of them are going to swap off.
Okay.
And then I have 4 more people identified that can either help open or be official monitors. It's whatever.
Okay, because you can only have 2 official monitors.
I understand that, but but we'll sit down, we'll look at the list.
Okay.
And we'll figure which 2 will be the monitors and 2 to help with doing the day-to-day stuff that we always traditionally do.
Okay.
But that's what I have for election day so far.
Okay.
But I have, as I said, I've got 6 bodies identified. Unfortunately, 1 is a nighttime only body.
Right. Well, we're going to need that too. Fresh eyes.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but
Yeah. And I figure we'll know in a day or 2 with opening the ballots how many we're putting aside for needing to go before the vote review panel, and how many are going to have to be duplicated. We'll have a really good feel. Out of almost 20,000 ballots, I figure there's going to be quite a few.
We all froze.
Carla's camera's frozen.
Yeah, Carla's frozen.
Like, say something, Carla. I heard her say froze, and then
Yeah, and then Does the Democratic Party have any monitors that they are aware of?
I have not. Randy?
I see a nod of the head from Randy, but
Yeah, I thought that you had put a list of 35 people that were willing to do that.
Well, I was not necessarily monitors. It was just people to help open the ballots. That was what the list started out to be. It's now, expanding to, include ballot review people and so on. So I'm just working off that list. That's what my letter to today is going to address, is these different jobs. And I'll just have, people who'd want to work in opening ballots, just contact Mandy directly. And as far as ballot review people, I don't know if Melissa's reached out to anybody or not, or anybody in the executive committee, but it's their job to appoint ballot review people. So if anybody wants to do that, then that will be in the letter also, and I'll have them contact Melissa, I guess.
Okay.
I guess I'll have them contact Melissa.
Yeah, I have not worked on that at all this year.
Yeah, and the same thing for monitors. They should contact, because the monitors have to be appointed by the party. Is that right, Mandy?
Yeah, I believe
Right.
so.
So
Yeah.
the state rule requires that the monitor have an official letter from the state party, not from the county parties.
Right.
That's right.
I mean,
So
my luck being an executive officer of the state party, I still had to reach out to our state chairman to get the letters for all these people that are going to be the daily monitors.
Yeah,
and everything. It's on state letterhead and everything.
right. Okay.
I sent a copy of the 2 people for tomorrow to Mandy already so that she had at least had copy, because
Right.
I know for a fact somebody's going to be drinking their coffee, realize it's 8:30 and go, I have to run out the door, and what will they leave behind? They'll grab their wallet or their purse. They won't grab that letter. So I figured the safest thing was to make sure Mandy had a soft copy.
Yes,
Right.
I got that. Yes.
That helps. I know we lost Carla. Hopefully she's going to come back.
Um, what for Saturday and Sunday, what time do you think we should how do you time wise, what are we looking at? Do we want to start earlier than 10, or are we planning just to use 10 o'clock as our official start time every day?
Well, we've advertised that we're starting it at 9 a.m. in the morning. So it's starting at 9 tomorrow, 9 o'clock.
Tomorrow it's 9
It's
o'clock?
election day.
Tomorrow's 9 o'clock. Yeah.
I thought we were starting at 10 tomorrow. The secretary.
No, what I told you was there were probably some poll workers that would come in at 10, but when I talked to me,
Wait a second here.
but we're going to be there at 9.
Oh, well, hold on 1 second here, please.
Yes. That's what was advertised.
They've incorrectly, they put it wrong on the state. I've said 10 o'clock on election day so that the
Yeah.
polls can get open and going before we started that process.
Yep.
Mhm.
Oh, no, they corrected it on the state to 9 a.m.
Okay.
because I pulled the list last night and was looking, and it now says June 3rd, 9 a.m.
Mhm.
Okay.
Okay.
So, and as far as the weekend goes, I would say it's going to be that start time potentially a little bit later, because
Yeah.
that's the same area where we set up all of the poll pads. This will be the first time that we've set up the poll pads for election day.
Right.
So there's gonna be a lot happening, and we've got to get all the supplies. So there's just a lot of things happening at one time. So I'm not saying we can't kind of divvy off the rooms, and that process is still going on that side of things.
Well,
Right.
I'm going to ask a question. The training room itself, could we, in theory, use that room for the opening instead? So we're out, not in the warehouse area where you're setting up all the pulpits. So we're not having the extra bodies back there. Could we do it up front instead, if we can clean up the voting area, obviously, before then?
Right. And there is potential there. You're not going to have as much room for people in that room. Normally on Saturday, that is where the poll workers meet. We have a training class and they pick up all of their supplies.
Right.
So part of it is going to be a little bit, we've got to see kind of how many we get open, how many we can open on
Right.
average in a 2-hour span.
Yeah.
And until we get started, it's very hard. I mean, we will make it work. But once we have that information, it'll be so much easier to kind of figure out from there. But that's not to say we can't flip-flop it, move the openers up to the front room, and then we can set up. But then it takes time to move tables.
Those tables. Yeah.
Oh, no, I'm not disagreeing with you at all. I was just posing out a question.
It's certainly an option. Definitely.
My personal plan, Barb, I'm going to be in on Wednesday just with you guys as well to see it get off the ground. As I told you, I have one conference call I have to be on, but the rest of the day I'm pretty free. And then I was planning to come Friday afternoon as well, so that if we had to move things around, I can help move things around after the poll closes Friday.
Mhm.
Okay.
So we can stage things for Saturday and Sunday as well.
Okay.
So,
So on that was going to be one of my questions. I had not published the notice yet that said that you all there might be a quorum of people together. However, there would be no decisions being made. I needed to find out sort of what your plans were. So are you guys planning on staggering it so that there's only 2 of you at any given time? Or is there a very good...
I would go ahead and publish it just because then if somebody just pops in or shows up and ends up being a quorum, that we're not in any, hurt for it.
Okay. Then I'll publish that this afternoon or after the meeting.
That'll be fine. I mean, it just has to be out there that, if there is a quorum, we're not making decisions. And not. So,
I mean, the statistical odds are we will have a physical quorum
at some point
on Wednesday alone, just because I know I want to see, we get going and make sure I have all my notes and things for the weekend.
Right.
And I'm sure Matt wants to get the same information for Thursday. Carla just emailed all of us. She's trying to rejoin the meeting and having problems. So I don't know what's going on, but I just saw that flash into our emails.
Excuse me, Barbara, when I'm available virtually anytime, day or night, but I don't want to add to the crowding that we have. So just let me know when I should be there.
Okay, we can do that. I had reached out to Matt for Thursday because I knew I had a doctor's appointment and I wanted to make sure there was a board member there. So, and it could be that when we start opening, if we need some help, we can call and get somebody out there to help us.
Okay. Again, I'm available anytime, day or night. Okay.
Okay. Do you need any of us to help with setting up tonight so that, you don't need to be moving all that stuff. I can't move, but I can help put out copies and stuff like that tonight. Do you want some of us to come after hours and help you?
Let me see how the afternoon goes.
Okay.
So sorry, got a poll worker calling.
On that note of poll worker, I sent you an email. If you could just review it and let me know so I can advise that one person or you can advise them.
Okay.
Okay. It's related to for one of our days of monitoring.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
Gotcha.
He said he'll monitor if they don't need him to help in a role.
Okay, I know what you're talking about. Okay, yes, I'll get back with you. Yes.
Yeah. And I'd prefer if we need the help as a resource, I can find another monitor from the Republican Party.
Well, and you don't have to necessarily have 2 monitors. That's the option, but so.
No, but as I said, I can find another person.
Yeah.
Easy to sit there and be a monitor. Mandy finding a resource that's trained to do stuff.
Right. Okay.
Correct.
All right. Well, then we'll see how that goes tonight, and I'll check back in with you later on to see if you need some help and if we need to call some tough board members in, we can get them to come in and help us. Thank you, guys. Guys.
Yeah, this all depends on the Carlos.
Okay, that's done. We can move to the director's report.
Okay. So, and I sent it to you guys just right before the meeting got started. And for anybody out there watching, I've already posted it online. So when you go to the meetings page, you go to this meeting, there'll be the public notice, the agenda, and then there's the summary tab. So I went ahead and posted the director's report. And obviously the summary minutes will be updated within 2 days of this meeting. The director's report is always a part of that, but it's already out there for anyone that wants to see it.
Okay, that's good.
So activity statistics as of June 1st, we have 156,919 active registered voters, 7,351 inactive registered voters, for a cumulative total of 164,270 total registered voters. Pending voters, total of 452, The majority of those are those folks that are age 17 and a half, not yet 18. Moved out of county, so those were those people who transferred from our county to another county. 277 of those last month. And then canceled voters, 167. The majority of those, almost 100 of them being voters who have passed away. We've touched on most of this already. As far as absentee statistics, total ballots issued as of yesterday was 38,098. And then it's broken down on the report in terms of Democratic, nonpartisan, Republican. Total voted ballots returned that had been processed into the system was 18.
Mandy, there's a problem with your total ballots issued on that. It's
up wrong.
Lost. Oh, there it is. I got it. Thanks. Okay. I didn't see
I add wrong?
But no, you got it.
Okay.
I missed something.
No, that's cool. So, because remember remember the columns, they have the electronic ones and then the by mail ad. So I realized after I didn't go back and do my double check. So I thought,
no, you're good. You're good. It was me, my problem.
No worries. So total voted ballots returned, again, that have been processed. We got, I think, 3 trays yesterday. So they're still working on checking signatures. And then we had some more from the day before. So 18,928, again, assuming I added everything up, those 3 numbers up correctly. Let's see.
Does that 18,900 some that does not include canceled mailed out ballots? Is that right?
Correct. Oh, correct. No, this is valid voted ballots.
Right.
Signatures, they sign, the signatures match. They're good to be opened.
Okay.
Yeah. And then obviously the link to the absentee voter list is out there online. The ballot drop box is going really well. I would say, I didn't go through and add the numbers, but just, I would say we're averaging 80 to 100 ballots a day being dropped off there. So it seems to be very popular. And I know even the poll workers have commented that are working up at the front, you know, say that, yeah, there's voters that are coming, but then there's also people going, I'm just looking where to drop this off. They're setting them down to the drop box. Everybody's really happy. Staff is still doing an amazing job. Everybody is putting in very long hours and very early hours, and very late hours, and they're just doing an amazing job. I mentioned earlier training. I'm planning on holding virtual poll worker training for all the county employees, hopefully. So that will start tomorrow afternoon. I figure we'll get started with opening absentee. Hopefully we'll have our system down, and then I'll be able to go hold that session in the afternoon. Testing of the equipment is ongoing. They're finishing up, but there's still things. And of course, again, poll pads won't be tested or, you know,
Saturday
with the data until that Saturday. We've discussed the fact that the polling places have all confirmed they're available on election day. We've talked about early opening. There's more on the calendar, but I went the short version. So June 5th, obviously this Friday, last day of advanced voting, election day, June 9th. The provisional deadline is that Friday following election day, which is June 12th. I have not run the notice yet, but as far as on paperwork and whatnot, I'm putting June 16th as the election certification, which is that following Tuesday. We had done that at the last election, I guess 2019, and that worked really well for us. Gives us time to finish getting all the provisional, whatever we need to do. People bring stuff in at 4:30 on Friday. We can have that all ready to go. And then, so if that still works for you guys, we'll plan on election certification on Tuesday, June 16th at 9. I say 9 because your normal start time is 9 o'clock. And then the next regularly scheduled monthly board meeting is Tuesday.
So it's a daytime meeting. We're playing for a daytime.
Yes, correct.
Okay, so I need to make sure I plan
for election certification. Yeah.
Well,
correct.
That's an in-person meeting. It's not going to be virtual.
You're right.
Correct.
It will be.
Correct.
So I need to make sure I have it on my calendar, showing them out of my real job's office.
Okay.
Have we heard anything about from the state about any auditing we're going to have to do, or have we not heard?
There is none required for this one because I have asked.
Okay.
To them just to make sure. And they said that no, there's none required. They are planning some, and I can't remember now off the top of my head what county it was, but they're doing sort of a, I don't know if they're calling it a pilot, but sort of a, one county's taking that on.
Okay, so.
And I think maybe some are kind of doing it on their own, but we're not required to do it for this election.
So my Republican peer in terms of party, not elections, lives in White County for the 9th congressional district. And she said that her supervisor of elections, he told her that the Secretary of State will be issuing them a week to 10 days after the election, an audit report to go pull various bundles of the advanced absentee by mail to hand count this race or that race for your bundles. And
maybe one of the pilot program type.
Yeah, she didn't say whether it was a pilot or anything, but that's what she presented to all of us that were from the executive committee that were on a party call. So I don't know if that's,
they're not a big county, are they?
Yeah. No, White County is a small county.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that county is going to be, has been deemed one of the pilot counties, possibly. I know they're in our election region, aren't they?
Right.
Yes. Yes.
So they may be part of the pilot to figure this all out.
Could be.
Hey, there she is.
Hi there.
Okay, so I'm the only one.
You're back.
I'm the only one that got kicked out. I'm like, what was going on? I was sorry.
Is the July 7 board meeting, regular board meeting, an in-person meeting as well?
I don't know yet. I've let communications know that is the next regularly scheduled meeting. I think the county's kind of determining at what point the meetings are going to continue to be virtual or they will no longer be virtual. So once I've heard back from them on that and they've made some determinations, then I will let you guys know.
Okay.
Carla, so Mandy has sent us her
The director's
report, so it's in your email.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you. Thank you.
And just to update you, we are going to start at 9:00 tomorrow with early opening. If there's some times that you want to come out, it will be posted that even if there is a quorum, that there will be no decisions made by the board. So that'll be posted so we don't have to worry about a quorum showing up.
Okay, I'll touch base with you or Mandy about what times you actually need someone, and we'll work that through. Yeah.
Okay. Is there anything else?
From her director's report?
From the director's report, I think she was at the end of it.
Yes.
I know earlier, Joel, you mentioned executive session. However, I'm not real sure we should.
No, I'm not.
Virtual
It was a general question for knowledge purposes. It wasn't for us going to it. I just was curious about it.
Oh, okay.
That's why I was asking before we started the call.
Yeah.
Good.
So there will be no executive session. So if I can get if there's no other questions from anybody, I can get a motion to adjourn.
Adjourn.
Second.
Second.
Okay. All right, then we'll adjourn this meeting, and Mandy, I'll see you a little bit later on this evening.
Okay, sounds good.
Let me know if I need to come in and help too.
Okay, will do. Thank you very much.
Me too.
Okay.
Me
Excellent.
three.
Me three.
Very good.
Me four.
All right.
All the Brady bunch is on board.
We're all on board, okay?
Yes.
Thank you.
All right.